Ahoy hoy and welcome back to Where It's At. For the uninitiated, this is the show where I comb through the last 2 months of music and talk about some of my favorite releases. Now unfortunately I don't get a chance to listen to everything that's come out, but I have listened to a decent chunk and these are my favorites. As per usual, these are going to be listed out in alphabetical order. There's no other rhyme or reason to it. So let's not waste any more time, as I do have a decent amount of music to talk about here, and let's dive right in. Actually, I lied. I want to take a second here to talk about some upcoming giveaways that I'm going to have on the channel. I haven't figured out exactly how I want to go about this yet, but as long as you're following me on TikTok and Instagram and especially YouTube, then you'll be in the know. Alright, now we can get into things, starting off with Brand New Soul by Angel Dust. This is just a really fun hardcore record that utilizes a bunch of styles in fun and innovative ways. I gotta admit, I wasn't the biggest Angel Dust guy out there, but after hearing this record, I might have to change my ways. I'm not all that crazy about the A-side, but the B-side in particular has some fucking hitters. Not to mention, the features are sprinkled really well throughout, and definitely add some more character to this record. Even if you don't love hardcore, but do enjoy heavier punk, then you might need to seek this one out. I'm telling you right now, there's gotta be at least one song on here that you'll enjoy. Moving into the hip-hop world, we have this brand new Arm & Hammer, Billy Woods, and Elucid record, We Buy Diabetic Test Strips. Holy moly, what a fucking album. When it was announced, I was really pumped up, and I have to admit, this has exceeded all expectations. Everyone is firing on all cylinders, the production is off the charts, and it sounds entirely singular in its own world. When it comes to hip-hop records this year, I don't think there's anything more thoroughly complete than We Buy Diabetic Test Strips. Just take some time, pop this baby on, and enjoy it from front to back, because I'll be very surprised if you don't enjoy it. Another new towering release that must be heard in full is this new Dreamwell record, In My Saddest Dreams, I Am Beside You. If you've been watching this channel for a while, then you'll probably know that I was super high on that debut Dreamwell album, Modern Grotesque, and I think it's safe to say that In My Saddest Dreams, I'm Beside You definitely rose to the occasion. This is some epic, cathartic screamo and power violence that is written to perfection. There is no doubt that they're building the blueprint for modern power violence, and that just warms my little heart. But with that all being said, I don't even want to give you individual song recommendations because I truly believe that you need to hear this in its entirety. Strap yourself in, crank that sucker up, and enjoy the chaotic ride. Flip-flopping back into hip-hop once again, we have War Deer by Earl Sweatshirt and The Alchemist. I've been waiting on this one for so freaking long, and I hate to say it, but it didn't really live up to my expectations. But to be fair, my expectations were pretty freaking high. I will say, however, the production is absolutely gorgeous, and I love the samples that The Alchemist chose. I think Earl laid down some solid bars as well. They're just not quite as memorable as some of his past projects. I'm not trying to hate too much. I still did really like it. I mean, obviously, that's why I'm talking about it in this video. And with a runtime of under 27 minutes, I definitely recommend giving this a shot. Chugging along, I also recommend checking out this new Jane Remover record, Senses Designated. When this was announced and I saw that They're Gutting a Body of Water was doing a ton of work on it, I was absolutely pumped. And it seems as though my intuition was correct, because this is a massive, noisy piece of art. I will admit, I haven't listened to it a ton quite yet, so I really don't have that much to say. I am patiently awaiting my vinyl pre-order, so once I get that in, I'm sure I'm going to be spinning this a ton. This next record, on the other hand, might not be one that I come back to and listen to in full a lot, but I'd be lying to myself and to you if I didn't mention this new Olivia Rodrigo record, Guts. Obviously, I don't talk too much pop on this channel, but this is just too good not to mention. This has lots of wonderfully catchy tunes with lyrics that are relatable and also so much fun to belt out. I'm not saying that it's perfect through and through, but there were a lot of tracks that I really enjoyed, like Bad Idea Right, Vampire, Get Him Back, and Pretty Isn't Pretty. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one, so don't shy away just because it's a pop record. If you were at all concerned that I wasn't going to talk about some more heavy shit, then you are an absolute fool, because this next one up is Pain of Truth, Not Through Blood. God damn, what a fucking heater. Listen, I'm usually hesitant about records that have features on nearly all the songs, but this is the exception. Every track on here is a killer, and they all possess their own unique, distinct hardcore flair. Some of the features that stood out the most to me came from 200 Stab Wounds, Vein FM, Trapped Under Ice, and Buried Dreams with Mind Force. This is for the hardcore lover out there, and I'll be damned if you don't dig this one. Long story short, Long Island hardcore stays on top. Next up, we have It Wasn't Supposed to Be Like This by Pulses. This thing is fun as hell, with an eclectic and diverse track list that is bursting with character. Caleb Tyler and Matt Burge kill it with both the lyrics and vocals on here. It's a blast from start till stop, with a solid mix of punk, hardcore, ska, emo, and so much more. I gotta admit, it's kinda hard not to be bobbing your head along and grinning from ear to ear while listening to it. The grooves are just that infectious. And admittedly, I'm not really a ska guy, but even the ska songs on here got me going. There's bound to be at least one song on here that you'll love, so maybe try out Run the Ghouls or Ask a Unk. Next up, we're actually going to have a historic moment for Where It's At. For the first time ever, I'm actually going to bring up a record that was made by one of you. You heard me correctly, a Forever Spinning viewer actually recommended their music and I quite enjoyed it. The project in particular is titled It Might Help a Little by Rod's Frequencies. This is a super low-key, fuzzy, downtrodden ethereal album. It's short and sweet with spot-on vibes that are very honest and upfront, only using instrumentals and the occasional sample. I would like to thank Rod's Frequencies for not only creating this, but also bringing it to my attention through a comment. I really do dig this, and I hope that any of you out there will go and check it out. It's definitely worth your time. It's only like 15 minutes, so please give it a serious shot. Moving along, I would love to take some time to talk about this new slow pulp album, Yard. If you like the sounds of the 90s, then you're gonna love this. It's a nice mix of slacker rock, indie rock, and noise pop, all packaged together in some solid tunes that flex some great tones and structure. Not to mention, Emily Massey's vocals are really awesome throughout the entirety of Yard. Some of the songs that really stood out to me were Cramps, Carina Phone 1000, and Broadview. Yeah, this is a great project that you do not want to miss out on. Before we move on and talk about some EPs, I would be a complete fool if I didn't mention this brand new Wilco album, Cousin. I will say that I'm not the biggest Wilco fan out there, but this record is really damn good. It's quiet, pensive, and reflective, much more of a mood piece than some of their more recent projects, at least to my recollection. As usual, the production and mixing are outstanding, and the same can be said for the song structures and poignant performances. I was pleasantly surprised when I tossed this on for the first time, and I definitely see myself coming back to it. Two songs from this record that will be staying in my rotation are A Bowl and a Pudding and Pittsburgh. Even if you're not a Wilco fanatic, this is still worth your time. Now let's move on and talk about two EPs really quickly, starting off with this new Callous Dowboys project, God Smiles Upon the Callous Dowboys. Holy mackerel, this is a wild ride with spastic, chaotic, avant-garde metalcore and mathcore. It truly does push the envelope of what these genres can sound like in 2023. I'd be lying if I said that I enjoyed this whole thing, but it is still without a doubt worth the experience. If anything, it just gets me more and more excited to see what the Callous Dowboys do in the future. And truth be told, it has made me realize that I need to make a video on their catalog for So You're Interested In. So be on the lookout for that. And speaking of So You're Interested In, this last EP that I want to talk about is actually from an artist that I just covered. You might have guessed it already, but just in case you haven't, I'm going to talk about this new Spirit of the Beehive EP, I'm So Lucky. It's a great 4-song project with a bunch of conflicting sounds that are all merged together throughout the course of this full thing. We have relaxing sections and we have rambunctious sections. I mean, this is Spirit of the Beehive after all. I mentioned Tapeworm last time I talked about I'm So Lucky, but another standout is really happening. I'm not going to talk about this EP too much considering I did just cover it, but just take my word for it and go listen to it for yourself. And with that, we are going to close out this edition of Where It's At. Hopefully you got some good recommendations for albums and EPs that came out during September and October of 2023. Links to all the projects that I mentioned will be located in the video description box below. Scroll down even further to the comment section where you can let me know if you liked any of the albums or EPs that I mentioned here. Maybe I missed one of your favorites that came out in either September or October of this year. Feel free to leave a comment and let me know what I missed. While you're down there, be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this every other month. I do other shows on this channel that come out more regularly, including So You're Interested In, Stacks of Wax, and The Variety Show. There's a ton of content to consume on this channel, so hopefully you're watching and enjoying and even more sharing it with your friends. And of course, be on the lookout for that giveaway that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. But that is going to do it for me, outside of course, my usual reminder for you to go out and support your local record store if you're able to, along with the local artists in your area. And, well, till I see you next time, happy listening.